welcome to patch 13.12 review. This is a review of the patch notes as they will be released in a few hours from now. Depending on when you look at this, they're probably released. So what's going on in patch 13.12? We have nerfs to a lot of champions, buffs to a lot of champions, and adjustments to 2 champions. Without further ado, let's just start going through the list because there's a lot of them. There's not really that much substantial in any of them, but there's a lot of them to go through. So first up, we have Ashe. Ashe is getting the damage multiplier on her passive increased from 115% to 120%. I think this is a bad idea because damage multipliers on champions who are already multiplying their damage tends to be a pretty poor decision. Because basically, you multiply your damage by crit, then by infinity edge, then by attack speed, and you get to the point where, especially if you had another damage multiplier on top of that for 120%, as Ashe is going to get, you get that to be a lot of brokenness. Volley's damage is going up by 10 because they nerfed Volley's damage by 10 to nerf support Ashe. And then, because Riot is schizophrenic as shit and literally can't figure out what they're trying to do in life, they are buffing the AP ratio of Enchanted Crystal Arrow because they nerfed Ashe repeatedly to try to stop support Ashe. And now they're buffing support Ashe by giving her more AP ratios. I don't know either. I literally don't know. I don't know. I don't think anyone knows. Okay. Gangplank got nerfed because he was always going with the new Navari Quick Blades. That's the item that reduces your cooldown of your abilities whenever you attack. He went with that and got infinite powder kegs, so then they nerfed the cooldown on powder keg. Now that they've nerfed crit itemization a little bit, they are going to go back and undo that nerf. I don't really know if that's a good idea, but that's what they're doing. I don't think Gangplank is like particularly struggling right now. I don't think he's like, oh my god, struggling. I don't think he's like top tier, but I don't think he's but what are you gonna do? I mean, a buff, yeah, it's not really that big a deal. When they nerfed it, it wasn't that big a deal. Now that they're buffing it back again, it's not really that big a deal. Gragas is getting nerfed. The cooldown on his passive is going up. So instead of being able to heal every 8 seconds, he will now be able to heal every 12 seconds. Because damage is haha funny and super cool, they're reducing the cooldown, or say the mana cost on later ranks of barrel roll. Why? I don't know. Because throwing lots of barrels and infinitely harassing you is funny. That's funny haha happy time. Healing is bad. Healing is always bad and is the enemy. Damage, good. Healing, bad. Also, we're in the highest damage patch we've been in probably 5 years. And that's including the fact we had a durability update. But, you know, more damage is still always better. Corsante's getting nerfed. The cooldown on his footwork is going up by 1.5 seconds at all ranks. This is an attempt to make him less safe during the laning phase and scale a little bit worse. I maintain they still should just make it so Cosante can't shield allies. That would be the most obvious thing to do. It would affect competitive play a lot. It would affect high-ranking play a lot. I'm not sure it would affect the low-ranking play a lot because they don't tend to play Cosante very appropriately from what I have seen. Kaiser is getting buffed. Her attack damage growth is going up. See, basically, Riot buffed every other AD carry, and then now they're buffing Kaiser. And then I guess they'll buff every other AD carry again. In a never-ending storm tide of buffing ADCs every single patch and leapfrogging each other, that's just what we're doing. It happened to jungle, if you guys remember. Riot buffed every jungler every patch for like a year, and then junglers just became so monstrously overpowered that they've just been dominating the game. Now we're doing that to AD carries, even though AD carries already dominate the game. So, yep. Kha'Zix is getting his base damage reduced by 3. Some people think this really won't impact the champion a lot, and it probably won't impact the champion a lot. But it will make his first clear a bit slower, because he'll do 3 less damage per auto attack, which does 3 less damage per clear. This does not affect his Q damage, because his Q damage is 100% based on bonus attack damage, not on base attack damage. It will make his early 1v1s a bit weaker. It will make his early clear a bit weaker. Overall, though, I don't really see it doing that much. Kog'Maw is getting the percent health damage on his W reduced by 0.5% at all ranks. So from 3.5 to 6.5 to 3 flat to 6 flat. Shockingly, Riot has now admit maybe Kog'Maw was too overpowered and dominating the game, and maybe they couldn't just ignore him forever. Being unpopular and people not wanting to play him doesn't make him bad. He's been very overpowered for a long time. Ever since, he's been overpowered for a month now, in fact. Their patches are slow and out of date and never really adjust any issues, and the issues they do adjust are basically just addressing issues that they caused earlier. Okay. Lucian, this is a lot of text, but let me just explain this very simply. The amount of damage from Lucian's passive has been reduced. The scaling damage and the flat damage has been reduced. However, instead of getting bonus damage whenever an ally buffs him, shields him, or heals him, he now gets bonus damage whenever an ally buffs him, heals him, shields him, or immobilizes a nearby enemy. So this should mean he now synergizes with champions like Leona better, but he synergizes with champions like Nami a bit worse. Whereas Nami can CC enemies, Lucian will basically get enough of his passive procs on his on his passive from Nami's abilities. So they're trying to break Nami Lucian, Lulu Lucian. They're trying to break that combo. I don't know if this is going to be enough because all those champions do tend to also have hard CC. But to affect Lucian, or say to affect Lulu in particular, Lulu is losing 3 base armor, and the amount of damage her passive does is going down by 6 at all ranks, which will drastically affect her early game. And they are buffing her shield a little bit to compensate. So her shield's going from 75 to 215 to 75 to 235. So 20 more shield strength at rank 5. That should help out a little bit. Emilio's base armor is going down, his armor growth is going down, and then the amount of damage he gives to allies is going down. Emilio has been pretty overpowered for a couple months now, ever since he was released. In fact, he's been very, 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 very overpowered. Riot, in true fashion, not solving any of the other issues in the game. Instead, they're just causing the issues that they've created to be less of issues. So, yeah. Nothing has been fixed since a few months ago. We're just addressing issues that they've created. Nasus is getting more lifesteal in his passive, and then the cooldown on his ultimate is going down to the later ranks. I think this is a very bad idea, because remember, Nasus's ultimate gives him Q cooldown reduction, more range. It gives him the AoE magic damage. It gives him armor, magic resist, health. Probably something else even that I forgot. The only real counterplay to Nasus' ultimate was to kite it out, then go back in before he could get back to it. Because Nasus tended to stack all the ability haste in the world, he could get back to it in a reasonable time. Now, I know this is literally the same buff that gave Renekton, but I feel Renekton is less of an issue than Nasus with his ult up. Renekton without his ult wasn't a champion. Nasus with his ult could run down God and beat the shit out of him. So, in combination with the lifesteal buff, I'm not sure this was a good idea. Highly suspect this is going to cause some issues, particularly in the low ranks, where Nasus can get the higher ranks of his ultimate. In fact, I'm already seeing at the low ranks, Nasus has a 50% win rate, 14th highest pick. So suspect that Nasus will be at a 52+% win rate rather quickly. Then we'll have to nerf him, and then we'll go, ah, wow, we created another problem. You know, Riot is a window repair company that runs around. They run around at night smashing windows. That's what they do. Their balance team is a window repair company that breaks windows. Okay. Orianna's getting more damage on her ult because more damage is more fun. Remember, we are in the highest damage meta we have been in for years. Riot themselves have said that. The damage is higher after the durability update than it was before the durability update at this point. And we are still giving more champions more damage, particularly champions that could just have their defenses buffed. Orianna could have her magic resist and armor returned, to compensate for the nerfs they did a couple years back. But instead of that, more damage is more fun. Rel's getting nerfed. Most of you guys probably didn't even pay attention to the Rel rework, so you don't even know what happened. I think I've seen Rel twice since the rework, so I don't even know what she does. For the 2 people who play Rel, I'm going to try to get through this quickly so that the people who don't care about Rel do not smash their computers with a rock to get Rel information off their screen. Okay, the cast time on her Q is going down, but the damage is going down. Then the amount of damage it does to monsters is going down, or up. I think it's going up. No, it's definitely going down. Yeah. Rel's damage to monsters is definitely going down. I did quick math that out of my head. Her W is losing damage, and then the bonus damage to monsters is going down again. Okay. Then her W is, I'm assuming, losing damage to monsters again. Okay. And then her E, you never believe this, but I think it's losing damage to monsters. Actually, I think this one's gaining damage to monsters, or losing. I don't know. I can't tell. The amount of damage this ability does is going down. Okay, so all her damage got nerfed, and all her monster damage got nerfed. I think they all got nerfed. I can't really say. I'm not really paying enough attention. It's Rel, guys. Let's be real. It's Rel. None of you guys even know that she got a rework, do you? Rumble's getting a rework. His base health is going down. His base health regeneration is going down, but his health growth is going up. Now, the big thing is the danger zone is now, I should say maximum heat is now 150 instead of 100. So he needs to have 150 to overheat. The danger zone is now 50 to 150. So he now has 100 heat to work with in the danger zone. However, let's see. The amount of damage he does to monsters by overheating now scales with levels. The amount of attack speed he gets from overheating is significantly higher. 30% more at rank 1, 50% more at rank, level 18. Then the amount of time he spends on overheat is reduced. The amount of damage Flame Spitter does is going up considerably. I was mathing this out in my head earlier. Basically, there is absolutely no way. I think at level 1, directly at level 1, it will deal like 5 less damage. The amount of health that each champion has baseline basically counteracts the amount of damage that they are nerfing this by. I think in perspective, you only need 1,500 HP for Flame Spitter to be doing the same damage. So at 1,500 HP, Flame Spitter does the same damage. Above 1,500, Flame Spitter does more damage. So basically against every champion in the game, it will be doing more damage. I guess early game ADCs might take less. The amount of monster cap, percent health damage. There's now a new monster cap on percent health damage. Okay, that's because they added percent health damage to his Q. The amount of damage minions takes. Minions take less damage. Scrap shield lost a little bit of AP ratio, but now is a health ratio. I don't know Rumble's health numbers off the top of my head. If I had to guess, this is a nerf early game to his shield. Yeah, it's definitely a nerf early game to his shield and a buff to his late game. So his late game shield will be a little bit better, but his early game shield will be a little bit worse. It's not really that big a deal. The numbers aren't really ever going to reach anything. Well, you probably won't even notice it. In fact, with the AP ratio nerf they did, I don't think this could ever actually be a buff. Not really. I'm not really sure what they did. So they gave him more damage and less survivability. Wait, that's literally what they did. They gave him more damage and less survivability. They took health away, they took shield away, and then they gave him more damage on his Q. So we just have another champion that they're making more damaging with less tankiness. in the highest damage meta we have been in years, we are still buffing champion after champion to do more damage. Okay. Electro Harpoon will generate more heat. That's because he has more heat. Then the cooldown on Equalizer is going up considerably at rank 1 to 130. At rank 3, it goes down to 80. Rise is getting buffed. I think they're basically undoing all the nerfs they did earlier. I'm not sure that's a good idea. The amount of mana he gets every 100 AP will now increase his mana by 10% rather than 6%, which is a significant buff to his damage. And is a good thing we didn't do anything else. And then they did something else. The amount of damage his E does, the AP ratio, went from 45% to 50%. So, yeah. That'll be a thing. Sivir is getting her attack damage growth reduced, but her ricochet damage is being unnerfed. Yeah. That's it. So her ricochet will go back to doing more damage, but her attack damage growth is going down. Yumi is getting nerfed because shockingly, she is extremely overpowered right now. Borderline just breaking the game. Extraordinarily unfun to deal with. Just makes whoever she's on basically an unkillable super beast full of mega damage. So basically, the amount of heal and shield power that Yumi gets is being reduced considerably. Instead of 10 to 20% heal and shield power based on her allies level, it's now 5 to 15% based on the rank of her W. So Yumi will get less heal and less shield power. Then the shield value is going down as well, from 90 to 210 to 80 to 180. So 10 less at rank 1, 30 less at rank 5. Then the amount of attack speed she gives to allies is being reduced from 35% flat to 25 to 35%. So Yumi will now also deal less shielding. Then the amount of healing she gets in her ultimate is also being reduced. A 10 nerf at all ranks. So every target she hits with her ultimate will now heal for 10 less. Hopefully the combination of all these nerfs means that Yumi no longer Hopefully the combination means that Yumi no longer just runs everyone down, heals her ally to full, and somehow turns an AD carry into a super tank who 3 people beating the shit out of can't get their health to go down on. Zerry, Riot is finally admitting, you know what guys, maybe we added too much random bullshit to Zerry's kit. I'm shocked. So, Zerry no longer steals shields that she does damage to, and no longer gets movement speed when she does damage to a shield, and when she gets shielded. Why did she possibly have this? I don't know. I literally don't know. Does anybody know? Why was Zerry, randomly as hell, a giant anti-shield champion? Yeah, I guess Zerry having 3 different passives in her passive gave her a few too many passives, and she might have been a bit too strong, chat. What do you think? Cool. Burst Fire. That's Zerry's Q. It no longer procs Trinity, so Trinity Zerry should be dead here. And her E is getting a little bit of maximum on-hit critical strike multiplier. Not really a big deal, I hope. Then the amount of movement speed she gets baseline is being increased. So Zerry will get less shielding, less movement speed, less tankiness, inability to proc Trinity. Hopefully, by removing one of Zerry's 3 passives, she's now down to 2 passives. Hopefully Zerry will no longer be a super tanky Trinity Bruiser damage dealing gigapick. Hopefully. Ardent Sensor is also being nerfed. The on-hit damage is going from 15 to 30 down to 15. Yeah. Ardent Sensor is providing a lot of damage to marksmen, contributing to ADC death ball and limiting support output diversity. It's the most common enchanter legendary at the moment, which is a space that should be competitive with Redemption, Mikhail's, and other options. Bloodthirster is going up in gold cost because 80 carries said Bloodthirster was useless and would never be built. Riot should instantly have queued in on this and said, aha, 80 carries are the dumbest players in the world. Of course they're wrong. And they were. Bloodthirster was overpowered. 80 carries said Gale Force was bad and would no longer be built. Unfortunately, Gale Force was then extremely overpowered and being built on everyone. So Gale Force's damage is going down from 55 to 50, then the amount of damage on the passive, the amount of damage on, or I should say the active, the amount of damage on the active is going from critical strike chance scaling to bonus AD scaling. It scaled a little bit too good with Yone and Yasuo, shockingly, who knew? It always does, doesn't it? It always does. And so it made Yone and Yasuo S+++ pick, and now it's going to scale on bonus AD. For the record, Riot says it will take 444.4444 bonus attack damage to match the old crit scaling. Immortal Shield Bow is getting a, quote, relatively light buff. Let me just take a picture of this one. Just to... Just to make sure they can't, like, go back and reword this. The relatively light buff to Shield Bow is that its lifesteal is going from 7% to 10%. Quote, one that crit users should be able to feel in the mid-game. I suspect basically every single crit user will feel the relatively light buff of going to 10% lifesteal, which is, of course, relatively light. Imperial Mandate has found itself a new home as a legendary support item and has quickly become one of the default purchases in Enchanter's second items. While that's awesome, the item is overpowered and is contributing to League being at one of its burstiest points in recent memory. Overall, these changes are intended as a small nerf, particularly targeting the item's burst output. So, Imperial Mandate, I'm not going to go over the numbers. The first application damage is down, the proc damage is down, but it's getting more movement speed. To be clear, Riot has said, we are doing way too much damage. Stares at 80 carries, goes, it's a damn support's fault. So supports are receiving subsequent consistent damage nerfs on their items. 80 carries, who are completely dominating the meta, are losing 5 damage. Okay. Moonstone Renewer is being buffed. Instead of scaling up on your ally, the heal and shield is just going to be higher. The heal's a little bit lower at level 18, but other than that, yeah. Basically, Moonstone Renewer is getting buffed. Everybody got that? Okay. The Mythic passive is also being changed from a very boring and weak 5 ability haste to a 5 heal and shield power. So Moonstone Renewer should be considerably more powerful now, and every enchanter should not be doubling up as a mage. This ends the 1 month long trial process of what if we make enchanters outdamage mages early and mid game? Shockingly, this proved to be a terrible decision. Champions like Yumi smacking me around for 1500 damage in fights, while also healing their AD carry and making them unkillable, felt a little lame. I'm going to be honest with you. Champions like Nami smacking me for 1500 damage in a fight with her tail, just smacking me with her tail, while standing on the other edge of the planet, just waving at me from her fountain. Somehow this was good enough to kill me. Yeah, okay. So Moonstone Renewer is getting pretty hard buffed, but we'll see. Phantom Dancer is getting buffed because we are in, quote, one of the highest damage metas in recent memory. So 80 carries need their attack speed buffed. Rapid Fire Cannon is getting the damage nerfed pretty hard. And instead of 60 to 140, Rapid Fire Cannon will just be flat 60. Hopefully this does it, guys. With 80 less magic damage in their late game combos, 80 carries are fixed forever. Yeah. Static Shave is being adjusted a little bit. It does a little bit more damage early game, but a little bit less damage late game. But the amount of damage it does more early game should be more noticeable and consistent. Static Shiv, they want to be more of a rush item that's good at rushing. I just don't think it's a very good item. This might finally do it. If it's better in a rush, it might finally be good. Overheal is getting nerfed. Instead of 2 to 300 shield value, it will now be 11% of max HP. As everybody knows, the problem with one of the highest damage metas in recent history was that people were too tanky. So we're nerfing the tankiness on AD carries. That's it. End statement. That's it. That's it. They want Overheal to be used for bruisers, but unfortunately for Riot Freak, the amount of times that bruisers can just like overheal and then go to a fight is very goddamn low. Like the amount of champions I imagine can do this are like maybe Gore Drinker rushing like Renekton and Aatrox can pull this out. I'm not really sure anyone else can. And running without Triumph doesn't feel good, let me be honest with you. Systems, mid no longer has a gold penalty. Mid used to have a 1 gold penalty on their minions before 14 minutes. So once you reached 14 minutes, they gave the normal gold. Before 14 minutes, they gave 1 less gold. This was not really that big a deal and was one of the only things they've ever done to try to balance mid lane. But now Riot is going, but the mid lane mages, no! So we're buffing mid lane. This is the only time in recent memory we actually tried to balance mid lane to not just be, it's top lane, but better. So that was fun. Okay. Red buff is being nerfed because now that every team has 2 red buffs, it's contributing a lot of damage and a lot of slows, and it's kind of screwing up the game balance. So red buff will now have less damage, considerably less damage, less slow, but only into the late game, and then less health regen. Now they did word this really poorly. It went from 10 to 25% to 10 to 20% slow. Everybody get that? But it was always halved on ranged champions. It was always halved on ranged champions, okay? That's not new. It's just that I think that's like the level 11. Yeah, that's level 11 red buff now slows for 20% instead of 25%. Everybody got that? Okay. Then the health regen was nerfed at level 11 from 9% health regen to 5%. So red buff overall significantly weaker. Everybody got it? Okay. ARAM adjustments. I mean, do you guys care? I mean, I'm sure some of you play ARAM, but you know, here it is. Go look at it if you want. I don't think even ARAM players care about ARAM balance because, you know, you kind of get assigned randomly. It's in the name. Okay. There's some bugs here. It's mostly with Rel. A lot of Rel abilities were bugged, and now they're fixing them because now that more than 2 players have ever played Rel, they're up to 3 now. There's 3 Rel players. The 3rd Rel player started to notice that there were a bit of bugs with the champion, so they're trying to fix them. So basically a bunch of bugs, not really any big ones other than there's one here. Fixed a bug where players could see that Herald was being started without seeing the Herald due to Patience Ring showing. So no longer can you tell if Herald is being done by just looking down there and seeing the Patience Ring. That should make it easier to do Herald. Everybody got it? Okay. Skin bug fixes, nobody cares. Upcoming skins. Okay, so we got Shanghai Scrolls Bard. It's Bard. Okay. Shanghai Scrolls Kog'Maw. Okay, I mean, there's no way to tell. It's good art. I like the art. But how the hell is that going to look in game? How can I tell? I don't know. How can I possibly tell how this is going to look in game? Okay. I like the art, though. Lilia. How come Lilia is the only one that gets, like... Wait, these two just get, like, super... Oh, what's the right way to put it? Interpretive art? Super abstract art, super surreal art, right? For these two. And then with Lilia, they're like, she's the cute deer girl. She gets cute art. This is just realistic. Look at the difference. Look at the difference between this and then just this. Even in Kog'Maw's art, wait, let me turn off my camera here so you guys can see it. Even in Kog'Maw's art, we can see that he has Lelia painted more abstractly like he is, right? But then when you go to Lelia's art, it's then just ta-da! Okay, and then there's Tahm Kench. Once again, super abstract and different, I guess. Girl privilege. Okay. Then Crystallis Motus Leona. So, I guess we've completed it, chat. We have now sexualized the non-sexualized female character. And we have just given her giant fucking titties in a boob skin. The character deliberately made to not be sexualized has now been blatantly sexualized. We did it, guys. We've completed it. Okay, so let's look at their actual in-game then. Okay, Bard is a little bit hard to tell. I'm gonna be blunt. The pose they gave him is pretty bad. I don't really know what to say. Okay. Kog'Maw, we can tell more what's happening with Kog'Maw. It's different. It's like a unique look. Is it for me? I don't know, actually. It's not bad. I kind of like it, actually. It's very unique and different from his other skins, so I kind of like it. It's like giving him a different... This is just Lelia. There's nothing really going on here. It's just Lelia. Honestly, if she was running towards me, I might not even tell she was in a skin. I'm gonna be completely blunt. Someone would have to point out that she was using a skin. I'd be like, oh, yeah, I guess. Doesn't Tahm Kench already have a skin like this, or am I crazy? I mean, it's, he's got like a thing on his head, yeah, so... I swear he has a skin like this already, though. Then Leona. Wow, even in game, her breasts are literally so big, they're like spilling out. They're almost covering her stomach. They are so big. Wait, that's ridiculous. They made her boobs so massive, they are almost covering her stomach because they're like out to here. They're like out to here, right? Why would you do this? Okay. Yep, that's it. So, cool. Let me read off my Patreon supporters so you guys can feel appreciated, because you guys are appreciated, because you know what? I love you guys. I love you guys so much. Please join my Patreon. Hold on. It always takes me a while to find it, because I'm blind as shit. It's because they changed how this thing works. Okay. If you want to join my Patreon, you can support these videos and more. By joining Hashinshin's Patreon, you are an awesome person, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much. Starting at the top, working my way to the bottom, going in order of importance. Special shout out to Monica, Stefan Ortman. You know, let me, I'll just show Leona there. You can look at Leona while I'm doing this. Monica, Stefan Ortman, Deep the Heretic, Nicholas Hinderer, T the Fish, Alex Tennant, Blazin Rock, Ching Ming, Christoph Marks, Skinny Shelbert, Horace the Burb God, Pancho Rodriguez, Quill of Anguish, Tenchi Kanashiza, Destroyed, Sebastian, Amzarine, Ben G, Creador, Dengda, Daniel Fiala, Deruda, Yadgod, Eric Petinelli, Flashult, Fanaku, Fulyuki, Gwen Mato, Hun Arthur, J. Paul, Justicier, Calfo Zeramar, Kijubai, Ludwig III, Manuel, Metal M. Morgan, Negative KDA, OMG Clover, Orahel Khanite, Oz, PBNJ, RH, Redati, Scorpion, Scott Shapira, Suki02, Terra, Undar, Uvo Plaja, Venno, Vivian, WLC League of Legends, Wolfman, and Jan. Thank you all for subscribing to my Patreon. And special thank you to my YouTube members, my Kick subscribers. If you want, I am always subscribing on Kick. So Join me on Kick. That's always good. Thank you, and I hope all of you have a great rest of your day. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. Bye-bye, everybody.